you're doing everything right. You're staying up late, you're grading on weekends, planning for 3 or more different classes, and still feeling like you're failing. It's not because you're unorganized or that you're a bad teacher. It's just that no one ever taught you how to plan for more than one prep. So your problem is not your effort. You are putting in a ton of work. And I would even say that you're probably putting in 5 times as much, or depending on how many preps you're teaching, that's how many jobs you are doing with the effort that you're making. And if anyone tells you that you just need to be more efficient, or if they give you ideas and plans that might work for non-multiple prep teachers, that is one of your problems. It's not that you're not working hard. You're working unsustainably because the system wasn't designed for you. A lot of times I was envious of my single prep friends because they would spend time planning and crafting the perfect lesson, the perfect unit, all of this wonderful activities to go within it. And then they just got to reteach it over and over and over again. They tried it out on first period. It didn't work as well as they had thought. So they make some tweaks. They get better during second period, third period, so on and so forth. Well, I was never in that situation, and neither are you, because very rarely are you even able to test out one class with your plan before moving on to a completely different plan. When I was teaching 9 preps, I was planning all of the time. Planning during my prep period, planning after school, planning when I got home. At the time, I didn't have kids, but I was planning the entire night for my different classes. And I felt like I would get one done and felt like it was really good. And then I would have a hard time getting motivated to then do the exact same thing for the other 8 preps. I was Googling all of the time. I was trying to find various ways of doing things. I was jumping into Facebook groups to see if anyone had a lesson to teach this objective or standard to my students, and maybe they would do it in a creative way. And part of that was I was always trying to make everything perfect, which is why I burnt out. In my teacher prep program, they only taught me how to plan for one prep. All I ever had to do was do a unit plan or a lesson plan, and I may have had to do it for the entire course, but I never knew the realities during my teacher prep program of how to do it for multiple preps. And then when I was student teaching, I had a little bit of an idea, but it was such a short stint that I didn't really grasp the full magnitude of teaching all the different preps. Plus, I was student teaching with a teacher who was there for years. And so he had gotten to a point where maybe he wasn't teaching as many preps as I was when I started my first year. If you've ever taught 3 or more preps, or if you're currently teaching 3 or more preps, hit that like button so you can see you're not alone. When it comes to PD, most of the PD that I've sat through has to deal with teachers who are teaching one prep or not very many. They're not multiple prep teachers. So everything that I always sat through, I remember in the back of my mind thinking, this doesn't even apply to me. How am I supposed to apply this to this class, this class, this class, and this class? I really had a hard time grasping it. So the system itself wasn't built for multi-prep teachers, even though there's quite a few of us around. And I always got bothered by the idea of working smarter, not harder, because I knew I wanted to do that, but no one could ever tell me how. It took clear until year 6, which most teachers, if they are going to leave the teaching profession, leave before year 5. It took me that long to figure out a system that worked for me as a multiple prep teacher where I wasn't having to plan from scratch all of my different preps every single night, every single weekend. So this is where I started figuring out how to create stackable systems so that I wasn't having to start from scratch. I was being able to reuse a lesson planning structure across all of my preps that went beyond just writing down what was the objective for the day and how I'm going to know that students have learned it. I also was looking into how do I reuse protocols, Something that worked in one class could easily work in another class, but did require a little bit of shifting. And then how could I reuse things on the same day so that I could minimize the amount of work and prep and switching between each of my classes? Now, I will admit that where I had to start was with my planning period, which I wish I would have had more than one planning period. So if you have a planning period, let me know in the comments. Do you have one or do you have more? So, starting with my planning period, I figured out a way to start fresh every single planning period. So, I got the things done that I needed to get done during that planning period and actually made things work. So, part of that was figuring out, getting everything laid out, knowing what I was going to be working on that day, and being able to successfully get that done. Now, if you want my system, I have a checklist. I even have a door hanger that goes on your classroom door to let people know that you are busy. You can get my planning period reset toolkit. It's free. You can go to kristenmassick.com/reset, or I have included it here in the comments. It's designed to help you take back at least an hour each week. Now you might be thinking, that's great for you, but I don't have that kind of prep time. Remember, we just commented how many preps we have. And wouldn't that be nice if you're looking and you're seeing that other people have more than one prep or planning period? Well, that doesn't work. You don't have as many planning periods for the amount of preps that you have. So that's exactly why this system matters. If you don't have a lot of time, you can't afford to keep reinventing the wheel. In the next video, I'll show you exactly how I plan for multiple preps in under 30 minutes. If you're juggling multiple preps and you want your nights and weekends back, you don't want to miss it.